More on this story, we're going to turn to a French farmer, Geneviève Savigny. She's a member of the European coordination via Campesina, and also a member of the trade union that you could say defends smaller farmers, the Confédération Paysanne, not the big farmer unions, the FNSEA. Geneviève Savigny, thank you for being with us from Brussels.
Good evening.
What's your view on this protest?
Well, there's protests in different countries, even in Germany. There's been some in the Netherlands. So I think there is a convergence of problems for farmers because they've been pushed for over the years in the same direction. Scientists, advisory services, policymakers, they've all pushed to be competitive, to be on the export market, and now they see that the public is asking them something different, and policymakers, they are shifting very quickly and asking new things that they were not prepared to do. In my union, we've chosen another pathway. It's not only a question of size, whether you are big or small. No, it's a question of choosing peasant farming, not following what was really the mainstream demand, I would say, 40 years ago. But now we see all over Europe, those farmers that have been pushed in that direction, they are really in trouble because they think they are doing well, but still they don't get the good prices for their products. They don't make a living for many of them. And now they're beginning to have problems with the method that they are using on large scale, and the public demanding no pesticides, no fertilizers, and sometimes without knowing exactly what is what. But as a result, there's a lot of pressure, and now they're asking policymakers to take decisions.
Geneviève,
I was speaking with our yes.
Go ahead.
No, I was speaking with our German organization, and they say now everybody has got to take a shift, to make a shift to sustainable way of living, eating, sustainable food systems. But then everybody's got to take a pace to do something about it, not only farmers, but also retailers, processors, so that everybody can make a living with sustainable methods.
Yeah, I was going to say, Geneviève Savigny, farmers dumping hay on the Champs-Élysées or manure in front of prefectures, that's nothing new in France. We've been seeing that for decades, and it always garners sympathy because the French believe in their peasant roots. Now, it seems like for the first time, public opinion could be turning against farmers?
I don't know if they're turning about farmers, but they're turning about some of the methods that some farmers are using, like using herbicides, pesticides, and now everybody's worried about climate change, about the loss of biodiversity, the big drops in the number of insects and birds and so on. So I think a lot of people now are aware of what's happening, and they want to do something. And some of them, they're pushing farmers to make a big change very quickly. We think we all have to change, farmers have to change, but it's not the good way to push people without taking into account the need for transition, to be supported for the transition.
All right, let's give a concrete example, Geneviève. Geneviève, let's give a concrete example here. Glyphosate, yes. How fast can it be phased out?
In fact, I don't know, because you use it for different things. If you use it for, I don't know, for some problems with some weeds that you cannot get rid of without, why not? Now it's used on a large scale for GMO crops. This you have to eradicate, and we don't use GMO crops here. We don't plant arable crops here in Europe. And then you have also those who are using it for to be able not to do some cultivation, not to plow the land. So in this situation, they are saying that because of glyphosate, it doesn't need so much plowing, so much petrol, and it's also somehow better than big cultivation methods. So I don't know how long it will take to phase out, but I think we could say, well, we stop. This is what at Confédération Paysanne we are saying. We stop. We say we stop. We definitely we stop, and then there will be some exceptions and some discussions about how we can, for some situation, accept some use of it.
Now,
it would make sense to say we stop completely.
One of the news reports I read, they were complaining that a can of cassoulet, that favored, say, southwestern dish, if you make it organically, costs about €4 a tin. But what you get in the budget brand supermarkets is less than €1 a tin. What's the solution there? Is it you drive up the price? How do you solve that problem?
Well, in a way, the price of food is too low, and also because you do not include in the price of the commodities all the externalities, for instance, to clean the water and so on. So normally, food should be higher price. Still, I think policy can do a lot on this, because you've got policies as they are done, like the CAP, you know about the CAP.
Common Agricultural Policy.
Common Agricultural Policy. Yeah, exactly. It gives subsidies according to the area that you are that you have. So it's not meant to really make cheap food or good food, but it is meant to keep in business larger farms. So it's a kind also of shifts that we have to do. We have also to see that the goal of the policy should not be to export food or to make this kind of low prices on the global market, but to feed correctly European people. And then you could make measures adapted to this.
Very briefly, because we're almost out of time. We're speaking on the day when the new European Commission's been approved. You mentioned the Common Agricultural Policy, which is, more than a third still of the European Union's entire budget. What's the future for farming subsidies in the EU?
Well, probably they will remain for a while, but what is interesting is the new strategy that the Commission has started to speak about. It is a strategy, farm to fork strategy, and which is supposed to deal with food and with food policy and food systems. And we are expecting to have out of this, to have better policies and to have better coherence between what we eat, what consumers eat, and what farmers do and how they get paid for it. Because I think farmers really deserve good pay, good wages for their work. They work a lot, they work too much, but then you've got to have a decent share along the chain.
All right, a holistic approach. Geneviève Savigny, many thanks for joining us from Brussels. Geneviève Savigny, who is the European coordinator of the Via Campesina group for Europe. Stay with us, there's more